The U.S. is hoping to buy up to 100,000 artillery shells from South Korea so it can give them to Ukraine. The U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is in Seoul for talks. Some estimates suggest that Ukraine's army is using the shells at twice the rate that the U.S. and EU can produce them. South Korea has a policy of not selling weapons to countries that are at war. Rob McBride has more from Seoul.
The global search for 155mm shells for Ukraine's guns has now turned to South Korea, which doesn't want to antagonize Russia because of its influence over North Korea. Right now, Ukraine is getting through about 90,000 shells per month. That's double the rate at which they're being produced by both the US and Europe combined. The US has reserves here, and it's buying more than 100,000 shells from South Korea to replenish stocks being sent to Ukraine. That way, Seoul can help its Western allies without contributing directly to the war effort.
Let's bring in Andrei Lankov, who's a professor at Kookmin University and director of NK News. That's an online news source focused on North Korea. He's joining us from Seoul. Welcome to Al Jazeera, sir. So will the U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin get what he wants?
I would say not necessarily so, because there are serious kind of arguments for and against making such a deal. First of all, generally South Korean public is supportive of Ukraine, like in most democratic countries. But they still see Ukrainian war as a distant conflict where they have no stakes. And at the same time, there are two reasons not to get in trouble with Russia. First of all, Russia is a significant trade partner for South Korea. And South Korean foreign policy is highly pragmatical, sometimes up to the point of being cynical. They are quite willing to trade with whoever is going to pay money. And Russia is a significant trade partner. But what is more important is North Korea. Historically, relations between North Korea and Russia, well, have sometimes been difficult, but very often they were allies, formal or informal, even formal. And if South Korea starts sending shells to kill Russian soldiers in Ukraine, one would not be surprised if Russia starts selling something to North Korea, which might kill South Korean soldiers.
Right, but if the U.S. and the defense secretary gives assurances to South Korea on Washington's commitment, for example, when it comes to the North Korean nuclear threat, surely that is what South Korea would be looking for, is it not?
They already have such assurances, even though there are some people in South Korea who say that probably assurances are good, but South Korean nuclear weapons to be developed is better. So they already have it. But at any rate, they want to have good relations with the United States. South Korea is a very pro-American country, and especially the current government. So if there is a serious pressure from the United States, maybe, just maybe, South Korean government will basically do what Americans want it to do. It's possible, because once again, no matter how important Russian market, no matter how much they worry about North Korea, yes, right now, relations with the United States come first. So if pressure is really high or rewards are really high, they might make concessions. But something tells me that most likely South Korean government will find ways around.
Right, but behind the scenes, to what extent do you think that the Americans are pressuring South Korea?
I don't know. I think they are pressing a bit, but I don't expect them to press hard. And this is why I sort of mildly inclined to believe that South Korean ammunition will not be sold to be used in Ukraine. I'm not sure. Of course, as I have said, there are arguments both against this deal and for this deal. But, well, South Koreans have always been good in dragging their feet in order not to do something they don't really want to do.
All right. Thank you so much, Andrei Lankov, for speaking to us from Seoul.